You want to learn how to ride your motorized bike. Let's go before it starts raining. You just built your motorized bike. Here are some tips you should know before you start your engine. First things first, get you some Allen keys because you'll need them whenever you work on your bike. Let's go ahead and take off this cover. Sometimes you'll have a nut in the back where you can go ahead and hold it with some pliers and then go ahead and loosen it. Alright, once you get this cover off, go ahead and put it to the side. We need to check, or on the floor, we need to check if there's grease in here. Now, I've greased this before, but usually from the factory, these things do not come with a lot of grease. So go ahead and take this little bar out, and we're going to shove some grease inside that hole, grease this, and we're also going to grease this arm right here. We're ultimately trying to prevent any round spots from this little edge. If you start to see this flat edge to get round, that means your clutch is probably spongy and this thing needs to be replaced. And I like to keep a couple of these on hand because they're pretty cheap on Amazon. And yeah, you can just go ahead and throw some new ones in. So to prevent that from happening, you can always just keep greasing this thing. Putting plenty of grease in here will prevent this thing from going bad. And yeah. So yeah, as you can see, I greased this thing not too long ago, but I'm going to go ahead and put some fresh grease on here, mainly because it's good to grease these things every so often. So I'm going to wipe all this old grease off, try to clean this up in here, and we'll go ahead and get some fresh grease in there. As you can see, after wiping off that grease, it's starting to round, which means I'm not greasing this thing as I should be. So good thing I'm going ahead and putting more grease in here. This thing does need to be greased quite often, or else you'll start seeing this to happen. And it'll just keep getting worse and worse and worse, and your clutch will just keep feeling worse. Once you're all clean over here, we can go ahead and start greasing. So now this is the grease I'm going to use. Normally I would use a high temp grease, but this is all I have on hand. This is a marine grease. It's water resistant. I mainly would look for water resistant grease because sometimes you might get water in here and it might dissolve it. So we're going to go ahead and throw some of this in there. I'm going to go ahead and get some on my finger. And go ahead and coat this little bucking bar, mainly on the end, so that I can go ahead and push it inside the hole. Kind of like that. And then we'll just cram it in that hole. Go ahead and cram some more in there. And get as much grease in there as possible. Stay in there. There we go. Boom. There's grease on there. And now we're going to go ahead and get some more and put some on this side. Kind of like that. Now we're going to go ahead and get our cover back. And then go ahead and slide the arm back into the cover. Sometimes you got to orient it, slide it around a little bit. And then you see this little hole right here. I'm going to grab some more grease and throw some in that little hole. There we go. Wipe my hand off. And now we just sandwich it all back together. Just like that. We'll go ahead and put those bolts back on. Also, don't forget your nut if you have it in the back. Here are my other bikes. And here's an example of a bad clutch. It's pretty bad, and yes, it is rideable, but that bucking bar has not been greased in a while, and as you can see, it's quite bad. Here's one that's a little bit better. As you can see, it has a little bit more play before it actually engages, but this one still needs to be greased. So both of these are prime examples of what not to do when greasing your bucking bar. Always keep that thing greased, and it won't hurt to grease it. Since this is an IMAYCC kit, I've been running 50-to-1 in this bike and haven't had a problem. And yeah, been running 50-to-1 ever since it was new. Did none of that. What is it? I think they call for 32-to-1 break-in oil. I would not recommend doing that because your engine will really never break in. It'll just over lubricate the rings and it'll just be a whole ordeal. So I run 50-to-1 in these bikes and spill some onto the gas tank. And yeah, it hasn't had a problem for me. And she's been running great. So that's what I'll continue to do. The other IMAYCC kit over there has been going for 2.5 years. Doing great on 50-to-1. So yeah, that's what I plan on using. And in this bike right here, this one runs 40-to-1. And this is an IMAYCC kit, so I run 50-to-1 in this one. And this one has been running for over 2 years. And it runs great on 50-to-1. Haven't had a problem. This one, on the other hand, running 40-to-1, and I just recently blew it up. So she's done, and yeah, I have another motor going on here anyway. So yeah, Now it's time to start the motor. All you gotta do is pedal and get some speed going, and then watch here as I dump the clutch, and then just dump it and then let off again so that the motor can idle. And this will let the motor idle so you can rev it, you can start pedaling again, and then whenever you're ready to start going, you can slowly let off the clutch, give it some throttle, kind of like a manual stick shift kind of car. Guys, if you have a brand new motor, do not leave riding it like me. This is a demonstration if you have a brand new motor. Just drive your bike like this if you have a brand new motor. Starting now. Not like that. Hold on. Just let it idle for a little bit. Might need to adjust the idle, give it a little bit of throttle, etc. Maybe one or two little blurts in there, and then maybe let down on the clutch slowly, slowly, like this. Slowly, you'll hear it, you'll hear it, you'll hear it, and good. And just cruise. Just cruise. Just a little bit. A little bit of revs in there. Help out the motor, pedal for it. It can't rely on itself. Just help pedal a little bit, especially when it's brand new. Let slowly, there, slowly off the clutch. It died. I need to adjust the idle on mine, as you can see. But once you get past at least 1.5 tanks, I would say, if you want to be safe, go for 2. Driving really slow, you know. Gradually work your way up, and then you can drive it. Man, that camera did good. Okay, so after your ride, always make sure you turn off the fuel switch and watch out for the exhaust. Depending on what kind of exhaust you have, always keep that fuel switch off, because if you have a leak in your carburetor, sometimes your bowl can get stuck in the open position and just dump fuel everywhere. It's not fun to pick up or clean up two-stroke oil mix. Now, this engine will perform different than other engines. This is a 100cc IMAYCC kit. It's different than that 80cc IMAYCC kit. Now, those 80cc's are definitely really nice. This one just has a lot of torque. It's just so much more torque than the 80cc's. So if you have the extra budget to go for this, I think this one's only $30 or so more. I definitely can recommend it. I haven't killed it yet. It's been doing great, and I've been running the Jesus out of it. It does have this exhaust on. Some people say that this is too long of a header for this expansion pipe, but runs good for me. This muffler is helping out a lot because it's just unrideable without this muffler on it. What else do I got on this? This Performance CDI is on there. It definitely helps out the higher RPM, smooths it out. And those are both good upgrades for the 80cc engine if you have that one. Also, this one has a 34 two-sprocket and still pulls more torque than the 80cc's. If I had a 48 worth of stock sprocket with this engine, the 100cc engine, it would probably pop wheelies. So this is almost a definite upgrade if you have a 100cc engine. It's still a good one if you have the 80s, but just it'll really struggle up the hills. You can tighten that. But yeah, definitely a lot more top speed when you have a smaller sprocket on there. I think that's going to be it for this one. If you think I forgot anything in this video, please leave it down below. It'll not only help me, but help the new builders out there. So thank y'all for watching. If the new guys have any questions for me, please leave it down below. I'll try to get back with you. So I will see y'all in the next one. Gosh, there were so many bloopers in this video. Okay, enjoy this long thing of bloopers. I'm going to try it. If y'all like it, I'll keep doing it. But I literally did this one take right here, thanking everybody for watching. I did that 50 times. Literally, I could not talk. I don't know why. Anywho, enjoy this long thing of me struggling. We're ultimately trying to prevent if you don't keep. Also, mine has a 37 two sprocket. No, 34 two sprocket. Help them out. Any other questions? I think that's gonna do it for this video. Gosh, the dog won't shut up. Do y'all hear this dog? It will not shut up. Somebody's pissed that dog off. Okay, leave it down in the comments. Please leave it down in the God damn it. I think that's gonna be it. If you have any, why?